We're James and Michelle, and we are building a 1,300 square foot round earth geothermal greenhouse. On this episode of The Thai Life, today is the day we are putting our polycarbonate on our round earth greenhouse. I'm going to show you his wood ninjaing that he's doing up there. It's crazy. Not sure how we feel about... How do we feel about the way that it looks from the outside?
What does your shirt say?
My shirt?
Yeah, your shirt.
Turning into a greenhouse. Today is the day that I'm going to be planting my seedling starts out into the garden.
All right, so I've got all these purlins just beside me here. Chickens are a little excited right now because we just had another burst of rain and I think they're laying eggs. So sorry about the noise, but back to the purlins. Kind of a weird term for structural member, and they are going to be going crossways across the beams that we put up. So we've got these burnt, but they're also labeled. Kind of hard to see, they're covered up a bit because of Sugimon in them, but they're essentially a 2x4 and they're rough saw material, and you can see these just literally got rained on and they're almost dry as well, so they really repel moisture very quickly. So it's one of the reasons that we treat them this way. So what we're going to do is I'm going to get a bunch of these loaded up onto the man basket of Old Blue and start putting them in place up on the roof. Okay, so we've got the purlins up behind me, just standing up on the scaffold, and I just wanted to give you guys a bit of a closer look at the beams installed. I have these rather large screws, and they're going to be going in basically straight through the 6x12 timbers into the 4x12. And I have to do that along the top and on the bottom. Sorry, opposite of that. The bottom and at the top there. We are dealing with a couple of issues. I'm just going to grab the camera and show you a couple of them. Some of these beams took a bit of shape. They got some bows to them, and also a couple are twisted. So one of the things the purlins are going to be doing, the purlins are going to sit in these grooves here. We can take these twists out of the wood. We can manipulate it with some clamps. I started with straight ones and tried to put the crooked ones in an order where I can work off of straight ones first, if that makes sense. It's unfortunately not going to be super quick and straightforward until I get some of the twists out of a couple of these beams. So the two end beams are nice and straight, and the third one in, a little hard to see. I've got a little bit of a belly to the going towards the left in the middle of this one, and then I offset it. This one's opposite. This one actually bellies a bit to the right, but you can see, not this one. We'll go down a little further. This one here is heavily burnt with the Sugimon, but we end up with a little gap here. So it's seated nicely on the top on this side, and then opposite on this side. So we've got a twist in this one, which I'm going to try to work out. And there's one other one that's like that as well. We got everything up there nice and straight. So we're going to work with the purlins, and then when we set these beams, they're only tacked with just 3-inch nails. So we want to finish securing those before we try to manipulate them so nothing falls down. Well, that was another flash of rain. Got some purlins up, first two rows, and I'm gonna work on straightening some of the beams out now. Sun's out again. Unfortunately missed the thunder. Really good thunder. Really hard to catch that, but very close when it happens here. All right, Future's back.
She's back.
Future's back.
This kitty has been crawling up the beams like it's her new playhouse. Because we've got robins that are making nests up in the greenhouse right now until we get it covered up. But she's figured out how to get down, which is good. But yeah, she'll walk straight up to the top of that beam, which is 24 feet and 20 feet in the air. So James is finishing up the purlins. He's just got a couple more to put up. And I don't know if you can see them up there. But once we get the purlins up, we will be moving on to polycarbonate. And then it's really going to look like a greenhouse up there, which is amazing. Because we do the shoshugi bond burning, he's completely covered. He looks like a coal miner every day after work. His face and all of his clothes. Yeah, I'm gonna show you his wood ninjaing that he's doing up there. It's crazy. And I think he probably mentioned this in an earlier clip. Each one of the purlins that go across the beams had to be measured in a different sequence because they're not just straight across, because there's variance as the slope goes.
We had a big map for all the purlins, all the different sizes, all the different pieces, and those are all notched into the beams because the purlins go at a perpendicular angle to the beams. And yes, that's what all the dado notches are in the beams for, is to seat the purlins. And that gives the roof stability as well as support for the polycarbonate.
So it's been quite the feat to get these up. It's taken a couple days. And of course, we burnt them. And yeah, I'm going to show you what he looks like up there. He's at the very top right now. James is going to lift me up in the man box in Old Blue, and we're going to take a closer look at the purlins and all the work that he's been doing up on the greenhouse roof slope. Is it safe?
I think it's safe, but you're not going to be super comfortable because it's out of your comfort zone. I'm very
As you can
comfortable.
see,
I've been monkeying around up there
yeah,
for a
you
week.
have been monkeying. As you
It's
can
literally
see,
it's like a greenhouse jungle gym.
totally is. As you can see, that's not much of a box that I'm going to be lifted up in. It's more of a.
It's a man basket.
But what is that?
It's like it's referred to as a man basket. However,
No, but what is the actual thing?
which part?
The metal that I'll be standing on.
Oh, it's welded wire mesh. Solid.
Okay.
You got nothing
All
to worry
right,
about
here
there.
we go.
You've been in it before.
Holy shit, dude. Nope. You're good. This is how high I am. Top of the greenhouse. I don't know how James has been crawling up this thing like a jungle gym. This is scary, and I'm on the man basket.
It's a lot of purlins. I don't know why you need such a big greenhouse.
You are my favorite jungle gym greenhouse guy.
Did you do a shot going down? No? I just wanted to talk a little bit about this part of the process. So these are our purlins, and I'm sitting on one. 2x4 rough sawn, and that was what we notched out all the beams for. And they fit nice and snug. And then they're secured with GRK screws, more GRKs, 84 plus, there's probably close to 100 just in the purlins. The rough sawn wood beams do have a little bit of variance and also twists. So as I've been installing the purlins, I've been using pipe clamps to pull them to the true measurement to get also bows and twists out of them. And finally, just at the last little bit of the last section of roof. So I have a twist in this one and a twist in this one and just a couple measurements to do, but then we're done the purlins. So long and short, the purlins are doing two things. They're providing lateral support for all the beams so nothing can move side to side, and then also support for the polycarbonate to reduce the span, because if we had the polycarbonate sitting between the beams, we would get a belly. So this is gonna stop that from bellying over time and give lots of support for the polycarbonate and still let a significant amount of light through into the greenhouse.
I've never seen my greenhouse from this angle. Looks pretty cool, actually.
Your greenhouse? What does your shirt say?
My shirt?
Yeah, your shirt. I gotta zoom.
Not really.
Cool, you're
Okay.
super high.
I'm so high.
Yeah.
I don't know if the camera can pick this up, but this is the warped beam. I can see that
It's one of them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I can
so
see that it's veering to the left.
It's got a twist this way,
Yeah,
right? So I have a mark where I have to pull it to.
yeah,
That one's secured. So this is what I've had to do kind of all the way along.
yeah.
That's why it hasn't gone super fast. Basically, you want all this to sit, everything to sit plumb and true.
Mm-hmm.
So
So you're using this clamp.
yeah, it's pipe clamp. Custom made pipe clamp for our round earth greenhouse. I'm pretty proud of you to be up here and filming and stuff.
I'm just not looking down.
Yeah, that's a smart thing to do. So it actually moves quite nicely,
Oh yeah.
right?
Okay, so you screw that in.
Well,
so
I-
it's
I-
moving the beam into place, and then you re-screw in your GRKs.
Yeah, so I had this one temporarily screwed because you have to make sure that at least one side's secured and you're pulling it the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's pretty easy. It's just like, it's a lot of up and down, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's also 48 feet across, so it's a lot of walking back and forth.
And how many beams did you have to do this with?
Almost all of them.
Oh,
A little
that's
bit.
Really close up. Almost all of them.
Yeah, almost all of them. The other thing we did with the purlins is we've extended them past the edge of the building, which is referred to as an outlook for our fascia overhang. So we ran them wild intentionally, and I've got a mark here. We're gonna snap a line down the edge.
Ah.
Sorry. I got some cool orange chalk to see on the black. Oh, bird poo.
No.
That clashes with the black big time. Oh yeah, the orange really shows up.
That's what you want.
I just don't want it to be where I don't ever want it to be.
Hmm.
Buddy. Okay, so one other thing to explain while Michelle's up here filming. I didn't go over this before, but I actually wanted the beams to be 25.5 feet long, but we had a hard time sourcing that material, that long of like raw trees. I wanted these to have a projection for an overhang over this roof. So I was going to do it flush, but now I'm going to do the same thing I did on the lower roof, and I'm going to extend them out with bigger pieces down to here. Give us a true overhang over this back wall to help protect that back wall. And where my feet are hanging, we won't see any of this underside because I'm going to drop it down and insulate it. Polycarbonate is going to come to this purlin and go down all the way to the front of the greenhouse. And then our coverage for the polycarbonate, I believe we're just shy of 40. We might be 44 feet. I might have to go center of the beam. I have to double calculate that. But from this point out, we're going to have metal roofing. And then ideally inside the greenhouse, we've got full polycarbonate for full light. Hopefully that all makes sense. Did I talk too fast?
We did it!
I'm gonna walk up with the chalk line.
I'm filming you.
That's cool. And then I'm gonna snap it, but I'm gonna just toss it off to the side because this orange is really bright. I don't want it on the black. But if you wouldn't mind spinning it up for me
Sure.
when I'm done.
Here.
You'd love to? Cool. I love that. Oh, it's so orange. Ready?
That was cool. Ooh. Oh, good.
Did it break? Oh, just close that thing. Oh boy.
Oh, boy.
Look out below!
I'm just going to lay this here because it's really not cool.
Hey, babe!
Today is the day that I'm going to be planting my seedling starts out into the garden. The weather is finally cooperating, so I just have one predicament before I begin staking my tomatoes. So last year, James and I put in these awesome cut-off stakes from the sawmill in two separate parts of the garden, and they worked awesome. But I'm moving my tomato plants to a different location, the sunniest, hottest spot of the garden, right behind me, right here, right along the fence line. And I don't have any stakes in there right now. I have some bamboo to place where I'm going to put the tomatoes, but I don't have any stakes in the ground and or trellising. I planted my beans where the tomatoes were before so I could utilize those stakes for trellising the beans. You can hear James working in the background. Actually, I can see him on the top of the greenhouse, and I don't want to ask him for help because he's busy. So I have to come up with a creative solution that I can muscle. So I ended up stealing some of the, what are these called? Stakes from the beans, which were formerly the tomatoes. So the beans still have stakes, but not as close together. And then I'm going to run a twine line between them so the beans can grow up there. And then that means that James doesn't have to mill me more of these. And so I salvaged these from around the garden, and I still need James's help to pound them in.
Well,
with
if
the
you
sledge.
asked, I have a bunch I could that I don't have to mill. Like I have graph ones. I saved this stuff for you because I know how you roll.
I know, but I don't. I had these so close together for beans. I don't think I needed them that close together. But
Okay.
how many did you count here? 10?
10.
That means if I have them spaced out correctly, I only have 10 tomato plants along here, which means I'm going to have a lot of extra tomatoes. So I'm going to have to put tomatoes in other places.
I got more stakes. Problem solved.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I was telling everybody before that I was trying to do this without James's help.
Oh, you shouldn't have done that.
I know.
This is my jam.
I know. I just need you to pound it in, babe. Thank you. Tomato planting and pepper planting time. These are all the tomato seedlings that I started months ago that have been hardening off in the glass greenhouse. James was kind enough to pound me in some stakes. So I have 10 or 12, which I have way more tomato plants than that, but we're going to start anyway. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to dig a huge hole at each stake, really deep. Tomatoes like to be planted super deep because they're stems have actually little root systems all the way along. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop them out of planter box, and I'm going to pick off all of the little suckers is what they're called, all the way up. I think you're supposed to do it. Each tomato plant is a little bit different. They're supposed to go up to where the Y is, but it depends on the variety of tomato. So I'm just going to do probably up to here. So from here up is really all that's going to be poking out of the ground. And then what that does is all these little root hairs build a stronger, better structure for the tomato plant to grow, to produce more fruit. So once I have these all planted, what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix up another batch of that big ass tomato fertilizer, and I'm going to give them a nice douse. That I'm going to be putting on probably every 2 weeks. The rest of the time when the soil dries out, I'll just water either by hand or with a sprinkler. I know you're not technically supposed to water overhead with tomatoes because it can increase their chances of disease, having the petals, the leaves wet. But sometimes because I have such a big garden, I don't have time to stand and hand water everything. But I think if I keep the plants as healthy as possible, their diseases are going to be a lot less prevalent. That's just kind of how I look at it. But yeah, this is awesome. I won't bore you with making you watch me plant the rest of them. I'm also going to do all my peppers. Same thing, I'm going to use the same fertilizer for the peppers, and I'll show you guys when it's all done. I've got all my peppers and tomatoes in this big long row, and then I planted some marigolds along the front of the planter just for pest control and because they look pretty. These stakes that James put in for me are going to work awesome. And this is a new place that haven't planted tomatoes before, and it's the sunniest place in the garden, so I think they're going to do really well here. There isn't a ton to show right now in the garden. I have a lot of seeds planted, so in the coming weeks I'll be giving you some garden tours. It's going to look really awesome. We also have our trellises, like our hoop trellises, and I'm going to be planting all my squashes in there. We have one up right now, and I put some cucumbers in the ground, and I'm happy to say that they are coming up. It was a little chilly, so I was worried, but I've got summer squash, patty pan, and cucumber little sprouts coming out right now, which is awesome. Yeah, I have to wait for James to put up 2 more hoops for me before I plant my squash starts that I had inside, but they're out here right now, hardening off. Yeah, I've got all my onions in, and I have my carrots and my beets, and they're coming up, just tiny little sprouts. My Jerusalem artichokes are poking out too. I planted little bulbs of those a few weeks ago. My garlic is huge, tons of lettuce, cauliflower, and broccolis. I've transplanted all of those, and I planted them. They grow really big. I planted them closer together than I normally do in a spot that I usually plant them in. I know you're supposed to crop rotate, but they just do so well in this area. And so I have those all in. They're looking a little sad right now because this is literally the hottest part of the day. But I gave them a little bit of Green Gaia organic fertilizer and gave them some water. Bottom watered them. Exciting. It will be, the weather is like spectacular from here on out. So there'll be a full garden tour coming soon. And I think I'm going to get James to get behind the camera and I'll show you my glass greenhouse because it is really popping off right now. Yeah, and that's it for today, I guess, in the garden. Thanks for watching. Good morning. Today is the day we are putting our polycarbonate on our rammed earth greenhouse. So behind me on the trailer, we have the big pieces of polycarbonate. They are 19 feet by 7 feet. So they are going to be quite the feat to get up there. One side of the polycarbonate has a protective coating and a UV protection on it, and the other side is plain. So the guys are going to be putting them up sheet by sheet and stripping off the protective coating and then flipping them over. They're going to be attached to our beams and purlins, which we've spent the last week and a half putting up, by big screws. And this is something that we've never done before. And I'm really excited to get these polycarbonate strips onto the front roof face because it's going to look so much like a greenhouse. I just can't wait to show you the finished product.
So these have UV protection on one side, and my understanding is that goes facing the sun, and it helps the polycarbonate last longer because UV really just breaks everything down over time. How's that? Good? Yeah. Cool. So what we did when we loaded these is we made sure that the UV side is down right now. So we're going to take off the protection, flip them over, slide them up. Can you get me started? Oh, I think we're going to need a rag, hey?
Yeah.
Ooh, this is satisfying.
How did the mud go through? I don't know. That's too, huh? You just want to come up here?
Do you want to put it over? You good? Yeah. Oh, that's good.
So we've got 3 of the panels up, of the polycarbonate panels up, and I'm inside the greenhouse, and I am loving how it's refracting the light in here. This is the hottest part of the day, and the sun is just blaring onto the polycarbonate, and it's just totally diffusing in here. It feels really nice. I think the plants are gonna love it. We are not sure how we feel about the polycarbonate. Looks cool in here, as you can see above me, but from outside, we're not sure how we feel about where the panels are connecting. So there's these little divider slide things that I cleaned and like went inside and scrubbed all the little inside edges. And then we had to lube them up and slide them up to connect the polycarbonate sheets. We're not sure how we're liking the look of the connector. So I had an idea to take a little piece of rough sawn and attach it to the front, black shishigi bond, just to cover up those connectors, but we'll have to take a little bit of time to decide what we're gonna do. But inside it looks so cool. It's looking like a greenhouse. I'm thrilled. We still have, I think, 3 or 4 more panels to put up. And yeah, it's awesome. It's turning into a greenhouse. So, what do you think?
As you can see, we're standing inside the greenhouse with the polycarbonate on. It does look drastically different from inside to out.
Yeah.
The polycarbonate does have kind of two different coatings on it. It does have the exterior coating with the UV, and then inside, I don't even know what to call it, but
It's like a diffuser.
it's
Like a light diffuser.
completely, yeah. So it gives a really cool feeling inside. We're very happy with how it is inside.
It feels like a greenhouse in here with the polycarbonate on.
Yes, very much.
The way that the light diffuses, and it's actually quite a bit cooler in here, surprisingly, during the hottest part of the day. It's like if you go before the polycarbonate was on, it was a lot warmer in here. Like it cools it off and it diffuses the light in a very good way that I know the plants are gonna love.
It evenly distributes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's easy on the eyes.
Yeah.
How do we feel about the way that it looks from the outside?
So outside, we're not quite done. So we are going to trim the outside and then the top portion in a black metal snap block roofing, similar to what we've put on the sauna and the chicken coop, which will give it a nice finish. Outside is kind of hard to say because it does look, sometimes it looks completely white.
Yeah.
And then when the sun is directly on it, it looks semi-transparent. You can see the beams through it.
It completely changes its look throughout the day depending on where the sun is hitting it, with shadows and light coming through. Yeah, exactly. Sometimes it looks like you're at a movie theater with the lights on and no movie playing. And sometimes it looks like you can see right through and you can see all the architecture of the beams and the purlins.
However, like the glass greenhouse behind us, I think aesthetically looks better, but glass refracts. And what that does is it actually burns the plants.
Yeah.
So it magnifies it if you've ever played with a magnifying glass or glasses, and you can redirect the light. This product is specifically designed for greenhouses, and it's going to ultimately function better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So right now, in my opinion, right now, the outside view isn't as aesthetically pleasing as I liked it with the beams and purlins. But obviously we have to have something for the light to come in that's not glass or plastic. So the polycarbonate is an awesome product. My feeling about the way that it looks on the outside right now is that it just needs to be framed in. So we're obviously not done with the sides, and the front windows still need to go in, the side doors, the side windows. Like there's a lot of really nice like architectural stuff that's going to go in coming up.
Cedar soffits.
Yeah, so I think it's awesome. The finished product's gonna be amazing, but I think that the polycarbonate somehow, in my mind, just needs to be framed in a little bit more, because right now it just looks like it's sitting on top of the rammed earth pillars. Tell us what you think in the comments. Tell us what you think of how it looks. Tell us what you think we should do. We obviously have plans of what we're going to do, but we would love to hear from you in the comments. Good, bad, ugly, beautiful, whatever. I'm drinking my coffee.
Yeah. I also, just to mention the polycarbonate, so it's a multi-wall polycarbonate. It actually has a honeycomb. We should do a little close-up of that. If you were to look through polycarbonate, and what that does is basically creates a number of different layers of air pockets, which creates R value and helps diffuse the light. It's pretty simple product, but well designed. And then I believe this one's like an R5, surprisingly.
Yeah, so it's gonna have some
I think like it's hard to say because it's a honeycomb. The guy we bought it from didn't have a ton of technical data, but found it.
It's gonna work.
Yeah. And I mean the size of the sheets as well. Like they're massive. 7 foot by 19 feet. Biggest sheet material I've ever put on.
Yeah. James and his brother put it on the day before yesterday. And shout out to Travis. Thank you so much for all of your help with building this greenhouse. I don't think that we would be able to do it without him.
Yeah,
really don't.
he's been great.
He's been amazing.
Yeah.
But them muscling up these huge sheets in the big, long, what did I say? They were 19 by 7. It made it go on a bit quicker. It wasn't easy, but it made it go on a bit quicker because you're covering more surface because of the bigger sheets.
Yeah, a lot of coverage, but hard to handle. More due to the size than the weight, because I have no idea what they weigh, but they're not terribly heavy. Just awkward.
So I guess ultimately we love the polycarbonate. It feels amazing in here. I know that it's going to function really, really well. I know the plants are going to love it. Aesthetically, we're working on that. But like I said, let us know in the comments what you think. And thanks so much for watching. We'll see you on the next video.